It's time to take your business to the next level, the boss level. These are the premier business owner strategies and successes being utilized by the industry's top talent today. Rock your business like a boss, a VO boss. Now let's welcome your host, Anne Ganguzza.
Hey everyone, welcome to the VO Boss podcast. I'm your host, Anne Ganguzza, and man, it has been a crazy week, actually a crazy month. I'm really hoping all of you boss listeners out there are staying safe and healthy and washing your hands during this insanity. Earlier this week, I became aware of quite a few resources that are now being made available to small businesses as well as personal income, and I felt that it was important to share this information with you. And of course, while I was doing my research, I found one of our favorite VO Boss special guests that was out there helping and sharing his wisdom with the community like he always does. And I wanted to bring him on the show to share it with you guys as well. So quadruple threat, lawyer, actually, I guess it would be quintuplet threat, lawyer, voice actor, director, and author, Rob Sciglimpaglia. Hey, Rob.
Hey, Ann, how you doing? Thanks.
Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. As always.
Yeah. And, I really thank you for this because you are just always out there helping the community. And I'm so grateful for that, as are, I'm sure, many of the listeners out there and the people that benefit from your help and guidance. So I thought it would be good to talk to you about the available options for us personally as well as for our businesses that have recently been signed into law and passed the CARES Act. That's the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act. $2 trillion worth of economic assistance. And I want a piece of that. So I think we should talk about that.
Sure. Well, I mean, that's the whole point. Put money in our pockets or we're all hurting. So
exactly.
Yeah.
I know that I had responded to you on one of the groups saying that I had already applied. So just full disclosure here, I applied for one of these. And I wanted people to know that this is aid that is out there to help small businesses. And I don't want there to be any stigma about that, but it is out there provided for small businesses like us to utilize if we can. And so I applied and, we'll see what happens. I think all of you should really at least understand what is available to you out there and then make a decision based on that. So
absolutely.
Rob, let's talk about, I guess the first thing, personally, we're all supposed to be getting a stimulus check, a $1,200 stimulus check.
Correct.
Depending on, I guess, what we made on our last year's taxes, and that is per person, right?
Yep. I believe the family limit is $150,000 income per year. I think that's what I heard.
Okay. And so you'll be eligible for that if you make a certain income. And that is just supposed to be coming to us, we hope.
Correct. Correct. And then it's like $600 per child or something like that.
Yeah, $500 or $600 per child. So you don't really have to necessarily do anything to be eligible or to apply. There's nothing you have to do there.
Well, as long as you filed your taxes. That's it.
Oh, yeah. That's actually a really good point. I actually have a note here that says, make sure to file your taxes because you cannot partake of that eligibility if you have not filed your taxes.
It doesn't have to be 2019. It could be 2018.
That's true.
Because 2019 is not due yet.
Yeah, I have not filed my 2019 taxes. So, yeah, it's going to be based on your income from 2018.
The 2019 is part of the Act, too. It was
Yes.
Pushed out to July 15th.
Yes, that makes a lot of people happy, I think. So,
Definitely.
Myself included. Now, also, I found out early on, before I found out about this new, the CARES Act, that as freelancers, we're eligible to apply for unemployment. I always thought that we were not able to apply for unemployment insurance. So,
well, the unemployment's done by state. So every state has a different rule about that. But I think what the CARES Act did was kind of make it more uniform so that more people could apply, widen the net so independent contractors and
freelancers,
gig workers can and freelancers can apply. Yes.
From what I read, it says that it now offers unemployment insurance for which typically we never did on a large scale for the first time. So you can get, I don't know, an additional $600 a week in unemployment insurance.
Right.
Including to maybe what benefits your state might give to you. So that's kind of cool. Let's talk a little bit about the relief programs, the CARES Act, and the specific programs that they offer for businesses.
The CARES Act gave money to the SBA, the Small Business Association, or Administration, sorry. And there's a number of programs helping small businesses like us. So, in bigger size too. I mean, a lot of these things are pretty comprehensive because it even covers, it could go up to like 500 employees. So there, some pretty good sized businesses that fall under this.
Should we first establish that, yes, you have to be a business, at least a sole proprietorship, or?
Yes, it could be a sole proprietor. You could be an LLC. Nonprofits are covered under parts of these two. So basically, if you filed a Schedule C, then you're going to be eligible to apply.
I think what makes it so attractive for me was that the loan can be forgiven under certain circumstances.
That's one of them, yes. The Economic Injury Disaster Advance Loan, they're saying that they're going to give $10,000 right up front as an advance. That doesn't have to be paid back.
That's kind of what attracted me because during these months, during this crisis here, I mean, we are freelancers and I can't imagine this not impacting a lot of us or a vast majority of us. And I think that if the money is being allocated there's no money actually to apply. This is the one that I did apply for. It did not take me very much time at all and there's no fees to apply. And basically all they can say is no. So right. I think that I wanted to get my application in sooner rather than later, thinking there's probably going to be overloaded.
I'm sure a lot of people are putting applications in, but basically they just ask the qualifying questions to make sure that you're in a qualifying business and that you had a Schedule C, and they ask how much you earned. Those are the two questions. I've been getting a lot of questions from other voiceover artists and other businesses about the cost of goods sold and, the receipts. So like there's two questions. One asks you how much you made. So that would come off your Schedule C. And then there's another question right after, cost of goods sold. And for us, for voiceover artists, we don't sell any goods. So there's no inventory, no costs. So that was zero. But companies that manufacture things and they have to obviously pay money for the materials and things, that's the cost of goods sold. That's what that means.
So I think there are some people that say, well, is there, a number? Do you have to make a certain amount or do you have to not make a certain amount in order to qualify for this?
Nope. You can just put the application in. I mean, obviously, I'm sure they're scrambling right now to try to figure out how they're going to administer this and how they may ask for more information, it said. So like right now, it's in the early stages. So at this point, everybody should just put the applications in because, that's what's out there right now.
Well, I'll tell you what I liked about when I read on the SBA site, it said funds will be made available within 3 days of a successful application. And that was like, woohoo, get your application in. Of course, we'll see how that goes.
Well, they're talking about an accepted app.
Yeah.
So once it's accepted, then 3 days to fund.
Side note here. I, with the help of my accountant, did this because my accountant was doing my taxes anyways. It was kind of a logical thing. So if you guys are out there and you've got questions or you need help, that was kind of the route that I went and it really helped me a lot. And of course, now I've got Rob. So, so all those questions that you may not be able to get the answer to or you're afraid, don't know what to put on the application, there's help out there.
Thanks. And that's actually a good point because I've been getting questions about that too. People are like, am I going to get in trouble if I file this application? Like you said earlier, the worst that the SBA can say is no. Yeah. So no one's going to get in trouble over it unless it's, obviously if you're using it for fraudulent activities, then yes, exactly. You can get in trouble for that. But not just to, replace income that you're losing because of this crazy, terrible virus that's going around.
So we're going to be providing you guys with all the links. All you have to do is a Google search on this, but we'll also provide the links for you guys to go take a look at these forms and get more information on our show page. But the other part of this CARES program is the Paycheck Protection Program. Talk about
Correct.
That for a little bit. What's that about?
Yep. So the Paycheck Protection Program is a second loan that you can apply under the disaster relief. And what it does is you could borrow 2.5 times your payroll. There's a very simple 2-page application. You figure out 2.5 times your payroll, and that's the amount that you could borrow. And then as long as you pay the payroll, continue to pay it, or your mortgage or your utilities or your rent, then they'll take those amounts and take it off the loan. so you don't have to pay it back at the end.
That's important. I just want to say, by the way, guys, you pay yourselves.
Right.
As a small business, you pay yourself, and so you are part of the payroll. So even if you don't have employees per se, you pay yourself. So help with payroll, rent, utilities, all that stuff without necessarily having to pay it back is a super advantage if you qualify for that.
Yeah, you can't do both though.
Yeah.
You can only get one of. I mean, you can apply for both. Because you may be able to get more under the paycheck protection program than the injury disaster advance, but you have to you can only do one. But then at the at the paycheck protection program loan, what happens is if the loan is more than what you spent for payroll and mortgage and utilities and rent, what they do is they'll do a repayment plan for 2 years at 0.5%. So it's still a great loan.
Oh wow, that is a great loan. Woo. That's fantastic. So my accountant actually was going ahead and going to do the second application as well. Because, again, the worst they can say is no. I don't think you'll be penalized if you apply for both.
No. You won't be penalized. You just have to decide, where you need the most money. Because if you have a lot of employees, then you're going to need the paycheck protection program to cover the cost of the employees. If it's just you're probably fine with the economic injury disaster advance loan.
And again, the employees would also include virtual assistants that you might have that you are paying on a regular basis that you have.
I don't know. I don't know how they're going to define employee, if it's an independent contractor or, if you're paying the payroll tax for them. It doesn't even say it. I looked on the application. It just said, what's your payroll times 2.5? That was like the second question on there. So I don't know the answer to that question yet. To be determined.
Yeah. You said that there's another part to this as well, a third part.
Yes. As part of the paycheck protection program, there's also, if you have an existing relationship with a bank where you already have an SBA representative and you already have a loan or you already did a loan in the past, you can do a bridge loan. The bank can advance you $25,000 right up front. Kind of the same thing like the economic injury disaster advance loan. So that's part of that paycheck protection program.
I got an email from my bank the other day that it talked about the CARES program as well as what they could do in terms of helping out for, they could waive certain account fees or overdraft fees and also defer payments on your credit cards or mortgage or auto loans, which is cool because there wouldn't be any penalty for that.
Correct. Yeah, and actually, just to be clear, the paycheck protection program goes through a bank.
Oh, it does.
So,
okay.
The economic injury disaster advance loan goes directly to the SBA. The paycheck protection program and the bridge loan you go to
through your bank. Got it.
For that one. Or whatever bank does SBA.
Yeah, so I think that's definitely worth looking into with your bank as well because, again, not knowing what's going to be happening in the next few months, and especially those freelancers and all of us that are working full time, not necessarily knowing what's going to be happening, that is definitely something to look into.
Correct.
If I can defer payment of my mortgage in the next couple of months so that, I have money to live on and not have to pay a fee for that, I don't see what could be the disadvantage of that.
Well,
really.
Here's the catch.
Okay.
So at least my mortgage lender, which is with the servicer, which is one of the largest in the country, what they said the program is a little different from what the press said that it was. The press said that you could defer 3 months and then just pick up in 3 months. That's not what my servicer said. My servicer said you pay the 3 months and then they have to figure out a way for you to get back on track. So either they're going to let you pay, you could do the whole thing at the end if you want to, or they'll figure out a way for you to pay it back.
See.
But
so you pay 3 months at the end of the loan?
No, 3 months after the 3 months is over, you have to pay it back right away. Or they're going to recalculate and figure out how best. That was the words. It was a video that was sent around that from my servicer that I saw earlier, and that's how it works. So it's not you're going to have to pay the piper eventually. So those that can afford it should just, in my opinion, just pay your mortgage because you're going to have a bigger headache 3 months down the road.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. I'm glad you cleared that up for me. Yeah, and I think it's something that you should definitely check out with your bank or your mortgage company.
Correct.
For sure.
Right. Yeah, I mean, obviously, every lender can make an exception.
Yeah.
Maybe they will push it out 3 months, but the program, technically, that's not how it goes. That you're gonna have to pay it back after this is done.
Exactly. Well, I like the ones where you don't necessarily have to pay it back, but I think that the loans that we talked about that would be forgiven, I imagine there must be some sort of paperwork that you're going to have to fill out and document in terms of, obviously having that loan be forgiven.
For the economic injury disaster advance loan, I don't think so. I think
really?
It's just $10,000 advance, and I think that they're just going to forgive it. I think. There's another part of SBA where you could just apply for regular disaster assistance. Mm-hmm. There's always disaster assistance that's available under the SBA for, like any natural disaster where you can apply for a loan. Those amounts go like up to $5 million. So those are also, probably not us as voice talent, but
right.
If you need a bigger amount, and the rates are really good too. I think they're like, 2% or 2.5%. Mm-hmm. You can apply for under the regular disaster assistance program as well.
Wow. Good stuff. A lot of resources and some things that I think we should really take a look at in the coming months if it is being made available to us. Any other tips, Rob, that you would suggest during this time of uncertainty in terms of our businesses and being financially prepared? Trying
to get all those little things that you could do, like you were talking about before, deferring your mm-hmm. mortgage, your credit cards, all of those things. There's really not much you can do if you're not making an income. So
right.
We have the advantage of being able to work from home, which mm-hmm. that puts us, that kind of put us ahead of the curve a little bit, from a lot of other businesses. I mean, it's our clients are the ones that are really, they're probably having more of an issue than us. Like we can deliver our voiceovers, but where are they working from? That's
right.
the bigger issue, I think, right now. That's the reason why, people say, should I take advantage of this? I feel like I'm draining the system and I'm going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
No,
it doesn't feel right. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't feel right. Yeah, take advantage of these things because, who knows how long this is going to last.
Exactly. I agree. And I say take advantage. Don't feel bad about it. And I say that because I was in the middle of getting my taxes done. So that made me feel less bad about it. Every year when tax season comes around, I was already preparing anyway. And I've said it probably 100 times that one of the best investments I ever made in my business was to get an accountant. And my accountant does my books every month. And so she's very well aware of income coming in and going out and all of that. So she was super prepared for this. She was super prepared for my taxes. And she was, super prepared for being able to help me here. So if you have an accountant, I think that you can rely on them to help you out, hopefully. That's a great resource. Rob is an amazing resource, as we've already seen, helping out with all of these questions. I think that's really great. And thanks again for all of that.
My pleasure. One other thing I want to mention under the SBA, one of them is women and minority-owned businesses.
Oh, yes.
Can get they get money at preferred rates and things like that, and a little easier paperwork-wise.
Yes. I'm so glad you brought that up because I am a woman-owned small business, and it does help, especially when I'm trying to market myself in all sorts of genres for my business. It does help. Women-owned small businesses can get possibly preferred rates for loans as well as work when it comes to government contract work.
I think they do lines of credit, too, so then that would be a way. Like you said, it's good to have the savings, but if you have a line of credit to fall back on in times like this, too, that also helps a little bit.
So, all right, guys. Well, we will be posting links for all of the important resources that you need to know about on the show notes page. Rob, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I always chatting with us.
Was looking for a way to try kind of do my part because I feel like I'm just sitting home and eating, getting fat, and I want, you know what I mean? I wanted to do something to give back, and that's when I saw this, I thought this was a way I could at least contribute a little bit. So,
well, thanks so much, and bosses out there, be safe. Go and research this stuff. Get the help that you need, and wash your hands.
Yep, definitely.
Be healthy. We love you. I'm going to give a big shout out to our sponsor, IPDTL, allowing us to connect like this and work like bosses, continue to work like bosses. And you can find out more at IPDTL.com. All right, guys, have a good week, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Join us next week for another edition of VO Boss with your host, Anne Ganguzza. And take your business to the next level. Sign up for our mailing list at voboss.com and receive exclusive content, industry revolutionizing tips and strategies, and new ways to rock your business like a boss. Redistribution with permission, coast-to-coast connectivity via IPDTL.